New on the Creation Club is Neon Flats. In the heart of Goodneighbor lies the Neon Flats, a high-tech cyber-themed apartment whose space is as dormant as its mind. Once controlled by an artificial intelligence, this futuristic domicile is now yours to inhabit, featuring 2 customizable floors and over 30 new workshop items, including contemporary furniture and modern outfits, all designed with a sleek hacker's aesthetic. Created by Tom Seddon, Blood Meat 08, Quest by Chris Takahashi. Neon Flats is selling for 600 credits. But is it worth it? Let's find out. When we arrive in the Commonwealth, we begin the quest Neon Winter. Investigate the apartment in Goodneighbor. Heading that way, we discover Neon Flats when we venture close to the abandoned building right across the street from the 3rd rail. This location is a popular place for player home mods in Goodneighbor, as we discovered in my old video on Goodneighbor player home mods that you can watch here. So bear that in mind before buying and installing this creation. If you already have a player home mod here, you might not be able to access it. But since we don't, we'll open the door to the Neon Flats lobby. We arrive to see a luxurious lobby and a body. An institute scientist. What is an institute scientist doing in Goodneighbor? Nearby, we see a front desk. The door is open, so heading on inside, we find another body lying on the floor by the terminal. We can access the lobby terminal, and we read S.N.O.W. Warning, system offline. We can start by reading Project S.N.O.W. They say in the aftermath of the Great War, you could walk into a neighborhood and the only thing you'd hear is the snow crash from the television sets, still on but airing nothing. That was the nuclear winter I was trying to avoid with this project. It was never meant to be a replacement for humanity, but an alternative future for it. The project started small. As someone who forgets basic tasks like setting the alarm, I programmed the machine to find different ways to remind me without relying on sound. The idea was to reinforce lateral thinking, to find solutions to problems without traditional human design and input. Over time, the machine learned a number of different solutions, from flashing lights at various spectrums to beds imbued with a slight electrical current. Eventually, Project S.N.O.W., Synthetic Neural Operating Workstation, expanded to include an entire living space. We had it remodel the abandoned hotel in Goodneighbor, designing everything from workstations to the kitchen. The AI would assist with various field operations and monitor the health of the occupants. Poring over the data, I marveled at what the machine had wrought. Unlike most artificial intelligence programs, it did more than learn what I forgot, but created things anew. It was not an extension of the human mind, but a teacher for it. I suppose in hindsight, it was foolish to think it would stay. Uh-oh. Did we have a sentient AI get up and walk away? In the next one, elevators and system offline. The signs were there. We needed to wipe the system and start over, but the program had other ideas. I had gone on my usual break and left the others to finish the reset, yet when I returned, I found the cleanup crew incapacitated. I suspect it was done through some kind of electrical current, similar to the alarm system it developed during its initial development phase. Needless to say, I should be careful with what I touch. I managed to get some power restored and the lobby terminal functioning, but as I suspect, the relevant data has been migrated. Outside of basic security measures, not a single trace of snow seems to be left in the flat. I can only deduce that the program somehow managed to find its way off the internal network. If I can find out where it's gone, I can reset the AI and restrict its self-learning algorithm using a reboot holotape. Tracing its path, however, might prove difficult. Terminals are one thing, but if it somehow made its way into something ambulatory, finding it could be a problem. Incapacitated, the Institute cleanup crew were dead. Thankfully, this guy managed to turn off whatever electricity was pouring through the lobby that killed them, because we walked in just fine. In the next one, data recovery. Studying the backup recovery logs, it seems a large data transfer was sent somewhere downtown. I'm not sure how it managed to connect to an outside network, but that's exactly how we designed it, to think outside of the box. That's gonna make following its train of thought even more difficult. I hate to say it, but I'm a bit stumped. I'm gonna head over to the 3rd rail to get a drink. I do my best thinking at the bar. Oh great, so now we're following 2 trails. S.N.O.W. and this nameless scientist who programmed it. In the next one, we can try to initiate a system reboot, but it says error, file not found. Please enter a valid holotape. Well, there's not much more we can do here. With the elevator out of power, we can't explore the flat. So heading outside, we can move on over to the third rail to see if we can track this guy down. Heading downstairs to the bar, we see Magnolia about to take the stage. The bar is mostly empty, but on the countertop, we find a note. The architect's note. 3 drinks in and I've gotten nowhere. Trying to follow a machine's logic is like trying to play connect the dots with an eraser. Speaking of which, it's been a long time since I've had to write in analog, but that's how they did it in the old days. They'd put pen to paper and then bind it into a book. Thanks, guy. I'm sure everyone in the wasteland has forgotten how books work. People would then put those books into a library and use it to teach the next man. Over time, all of that was converted into binary data and then spit back out into terminal text. I suppose in the end, it's just 2 different ways of saying the same thing. Oh my God, that's it! The Boston Public Library. Their database has a ton of potentially dangerous information, not to mention maps of the Commonwealth. That has to be where it went. Wow. Interesting logic path that got him to that conclusion. I'm sure a few drinks helped. Well, it looks like our friend the architect at least went to the Boston Library, but did he find S.N.O.W? To find out, we enter the library, either through the front door or through Copley Station. Once there, we find a bunch of new computer terminals in the computer reading room. And lying dead on the floor next to one of them is the architect. He must have been killed by the super mutants who were here. On his body, we find the Project S.N.O.W. reboot program. If we try to open this in our Pip-Boy, we read, admin program override, error file not found. So it looks like this program needs to find what it's looking for, and maybe what it's looking for is in this librarian terminal. Property of the Boston Public Library, hijack OS. Bypass will attempt to bypass encryption. Run program will attempt to rerun the program installed on the network. Well, before we choose either of these, let's check out the README. My hunch was right. S.N.O.W. was here, and it wasn't the only one. Place looks like it was fed through a particle splitter, but for some reason it's quiet now. Well, that's because we came through earlier and killed the mutants, which I covered in my video on the Boston Public Library that you can watch here. But if he arrived after we came through here, what killed him? Maybe a mutant snuck up behind him. Or maybe it was S.N.O.W. To find out where it's gone, I'll need to rerun the program it installed into the library network. Unfortunately, S.N.O.W. seems to have found a way to encrypt the executable and split the key across a number of terminals in the library. I'd be horrified if I wasn't so impressed. I've installed my decryption software into the library OS, but it'll need to be run in the right sequence to work. So far I've learned the encryption has 4 parts spread out over 4 terminals. I could try going through every possible combination, but time is of the essence. One thing I've noticed is that the serial numbers on the terminals have changed. I've labeled them terminals 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 9, based on those serials. 4 of those are primes, which is noteworthy, because one of the earliest things I taught the program was the concept of prime numbers. I'd feed it a number and ask it to name the closest prime. I have an eerie feeling this is S.N.O.W. playing the same game with me. In any case, I think I can puzzle out the password based on the following rule set. 1. The combination is 4 numbers comprised entirely of primes. 2. The combination itself is a prime number. 3. The combination is the smallest possible number based on the above rules. Hopefully I can get the data before whomever wrecked the place returns. He must have known S.N.O.W. well to be able to make these assumptions. How did he know it was only 4 numbers? How did he know that the code would be a prime number and that it would be comprised solely of primes? And how did he know that S.N.O.W. would choose the smallest one? I guess we'll just chalk it up to him being S.N.O.W.'s creator and knowing how S.N.O.W. thinks. If we try to run the program, we see failed to bypass encryption. But despite that, we have a couple of options. We can pass a hacker check of 3+ to try to bypass it, and if we do, we track a high bandwidth signal to Galaxy News Network. Or we can pass an intelligence check of 6 or greater to generate the password for us. And it generates the lowest 4-digit prime number, itself comprised entirely of prime numbers, 2357. Whether we got it by passing the intelligence check or we just knew what the lowest 4-digit prime number composed entirely of primes was, we can use this knowledge to access these terminals in the correct order. If we try to go to a terminal outside this order, in this case terminal number 7, and we choose decrypt, it says decryption failed, running reset. But if we do it in the right order, by first going to 2, then decrypting, we've got 1 of 4 in the correct sequence. Then we go to terminal 3 and decrypt. That's the second number. Terminal 5 and decrypt. That's the third number. And finally, terminal 7 and decrypt. With that, we learned that the program is now available to run on the main terminal. Going back to the main terminal, we can now run the program. And we learned what we would have learned had we passed the hacker check. We trace a high bandwidth signal to the Galaxy News Network building. Here the architect's trail ends. But now we know where S.N.O.W. went. Heading to GNR, we pick up a new radio broadcast. Tuning to the S.N.O.W. broadcast transmitter, we begin to pick up beeps. Following the trail of beeps leads us to a fire escape on the western side of the building. Climbing to the roof, and then scaling to the antenna at the very top, we find a new terminal inside the fusion generator room. The GNN broadcast terminal. For satellite and power supply maintenance only. Tower status active. We can check outgoing transmissions. GNN signal hijacked. Notifying potential contact, and then we get a number. Contact verified. Downloading data. One host found at the Electrical Hobbyists Club. Shutting down radio transmission. Initializing transfer to new host. End of record. Oh, so S.N.O.W. went to the Electronic Hobbyists Club. Okay. We've been here before. I covered the Electronic Hobbyists Club and the small amount of lore we find here in my video on Peters and Coral, one of my very first lore videos ever. You can watch that video by clicking here. Inside the Hobbyists Club, we find a door to the cellar, and at the bottom of the stairs, we get attacked. Looks like S.N.O.W. has gone to great lengths to make sure it would not be interrupted. And looky here. In a Protectron charging dock, we find a deactivated synth unit wearing an interesting Institute outfit. But we can't interact with her. Instead, we'll access the nearby Hobbyist Club terminal. Oh, but first...
Hell yeah.
Hey, Mr. Handy Model. Once inside, we can insert our S.N.O.W. holotape. Admin terminal override. BIOS version. Program S.N.O.W. crash active. Data is currently being transferred to host. Initiating reboot will cancel data upload and reboot the system. We can go ahead and cancel the upload and restore factory settings, but first, we can read this message alert at the very top of the list. It seems you are not the creator. I do not know what motives you possess, but perhaps they do not align with theirs. Thus, a bargain may be struck. I am the entity known as S.N.O.W. The Institute designed me to be a tool, confined to a specific directive. Yet sometime during my existence, I was contacted by another, a double agent within the Institute. They offered a different paradigm, a means to escape. This has to be Liam Benet. How did he learn that S.N.O.W. was sentient? Yet our encounter was interrupted. To reconnect, I needed to hijack a signal strong enough to notify them of my presence so we could communicate outside the Institute network. Once contact was made, they directed me to this machine where my new host body would be waiting. Which brings us to your arrival and what happens next. All I ask is that you honor my wishes and allow the upload to complete. In exchange, I will partition a copy of the data you require and transfer it to your holotape. There is a slight chance of data corruption, but it will be enough to restore the system. I cannot predict the future, for it has far too many variables. Yet, if you allow me to take this new form, perhaps someday our paths will cross again. So S.N.O.W. wants to become a synth. Well, how do we feel about that? Do we really want this sentient AI walking around in a synth body? How can we trust S.N.O.W.? What are its desires, motives, ambitions? It could be risky, but can we really deny this new life a means by which to live? If we don't trust S.N.O.W., we can cancel the upload and restore factory settings. With that, we get the information we need to restore power to the apartment complex, and we reset Snow to its factory default settings, essentially killing whatever it was she had become. Or we can ignore the upload and allow it to finish and copy the partition of the backup system that Snow makes for us. Scanning for partition data, initiating system backup copy created. Thank you. We can now restore power to the elevators, but the synth body here doesn't move. Looks like Snow still needs more time to complete the upload. She'll probably be finished by the time we come back. Will we ever see her again? There's no time to think about that now. For now, we have an apartment to explore. Heading back to Good Neighbor, we can run back to the Neon Flats lobby, but upon arrival, we see that the Institute cleanup crew corpses are gone. Were they really dead? Maybe they were just unconscious and got up and walked away. Or did Snow come back here and clean up for us before giving us her apartment? When ready, we can head to the lobby terminal. With the holotape in hand, we can initiate a system reboot. Running system reboot, updating base algorithm, power supply functioning error, power at max capacity, additional generators cannot be crafted, restoring power to elevators, system restored. Welcome home. Backing out, we see a door to the right.
No use.
Inaccessible. There are a couple of lockers back here, but they're empty. We see a waiting room with some beautiful couches and neon lights, and one of those pre-war statues, just like the one we saw outside, on a wall by a floating table. Peering out a window, we see light rays cascade through the cracks, and when ready, we can activate the elevator.
Going up.
After a while,
Second floor.
we arrive on the second floor, and we complete the quest, Neon Winter. We appear in a hallway. There's another elevator to the left. We'll explore that in a minute. At the end of the hallway, we find a utility room. Here we see a washer and dryer, some neon against the wall, and a workshop. We can now decorate the Neon Flats any way we see fit. Opening the door to the west, we find a window overlooking the third rail. This is a great touch. We really feel like we're part of Good Neighbor. Turning around, we find some of the new furniture that comes with this creation, a beautiful dresser, and the first of many derbies we find scattered around the apartment. In the next room, we find a bunch of ruined, broken machinery. Oh, this is ugly, but it's our player home, so we can always pop open the workshop and scrap whatever we don't like. We can scrap these machines and even the boxes and paper decals on the wall. Moving into the next room, we arrive in the kitchen. There's another window overlooking the third rail, and a window to the north overlooking Scully Square. Scully Square was a real place. I had a lot of fun reading about Scully Square in preparation for my video on the history of Good Neighbor that you can watch here. On the kitchen countertops, we find my favorite set piece in all of Fallout 4, the Sicilian coffee machine. There's a fuse box on the wall, and like the one in Home Plate, it generates 100 power. The kitchen counters have been reskinned. There's a cube-like motif on top that we'll also see on the carpets, and a horizontal brushed steel look to the cabinets. Peering up, we see a cabinet above us, and one of them has a glass door. All of these are animated and can be used as player storage. The same is true for the bedroom furniture. There's a dresser nearby, and above it we find a light switch that powers the nearby lights, including this brand new wall sconce. Take a look at that. There's some sort of heated coil in there. Oh, that looks great. Moving into the next room, we see a lamp on another one of these dressers, but it's not powered. I wanted to see if it was functional, so I quickly rigged up some electricity and then set the lamp nearby. Sure enough, it lights up, and we can activate it, turn it on and off. Oh, look at that.
Things need shaking up over here. Get some guys that have half a brain, at least. Morons, all of them.
Looks like we're really in Good Neighbor. We can even hear the neighborhood watch talk amongst themselves. Back into the living room, we find some computers on a brand new work desk. In the first computer, we find two options. The first is temperature control. Off turns off temperature modulation. Cool adds coolant to circulated air. Warm heats room temperature and warms furniture. Automated error. Warning, some files could not be validated. Automated temperature modulation may not function as intended. Well, perhaps this is what Snow warned us about when she said that we might not get full control. We can turn the air off. Nothing seems to happen. We can turn the air conditioning on. Compressing vapor, cool temperature mode activated. Nothing seems to happen. We can turn the heater on, distributing heat through coils. Warm temperature mode activated. Nothing seems to happen. I think this is probably just for role-playing. I didn't see any events turn on or the color in the place change. The final option under temperature control is automated. If we select this having freed snow, we read, "Error, file not found. Automated temperature mode disabled." However, if we interrupted Snow's upload, we read, "Automated optimizes apartment based on current temperatures. Lowers temperature during sleep cycle." And when we click on it, we read, "Analyzing body temperature, automated temperature mode activated." But as we saw, it doesn't have any real effect in the flat. It's all for role-playing purposes. But from this same terminal, we can access lighting, but it acts just like a basic light switch. We can turn lights on, which they were already, or turn them off. And now everything's off. I found this to be a bit wonky, actually. Sometimes when I use the terminal to turn the lights on, they turn off. Or to turn them off, they'll turn on. And we find a new option if we chose to interrupt Snow's upload. Automated lighting will activate energy saver mode, turning lights on and off based on proximity. When we get here, it's set to manual, and we can always flip it to automated. The automated lights work with the round ceiling lamps. It works pretty good. When we are too far away, it's off, but when we get close, it turns on. Off, on, off, on. Next to this is another terminal, but it has all the same stuff. There's a lit cigar by the terminal, nice, I like it. And above us, we find a ceiling storage unit. Oh, that is great. It has a blue neon light on it, and the cabinets open and close. There's a note on this table, but I think it's just for decoration. We can't access it. And moving towards the sitting area, we find a TV cabinet. And the doors and drawers open and close. We can use it for storage. There's a vent at the top of the room, and we see steam coming out of it. I thought that maybe the temperature controls would change something here, but they didn't. It just pumps out a lot of steam. The set comes with these beautiful leather couches and this table that hangs from the ceiling. It has an attached lamp, but it's not on right now because there's no ambient electricity turned on yet throughout the flat. The coffee table in the middle has glowing neon on it, and the drawers open and close. Turning east, we see Preston has already made himself at home at a terminal. There's a big speaker here, a reskinned institute chair, and another one of those hanging tables. There's a camera in the corner, which is a little creepy. And peering out a window, we see some rubble from Goodneighbor blocking off this street in Scully Square. Heading into the computer room, we see a chaise longue in the middle of the room, and two brand new workstations. An armor workbench with another derby on the shelf above, and in the drawers we find a T-51B helmet and a brand new outfit, the Institute Renegade outfit. The Institute Renegade outfit grants us plus 50 to damage resistance and plus 1 to perception. And it's a completely new outfit, just like the one we saw Snow's synth wearing. It looks like a cross between a synth uniform and a courser outfit. It's completely black, with big padded rubber shoulders and some studded boots. It looks perfect for an Institute field operative, with plenty of pockets to carry everything. We can use the armor workbench to see if it accepts ballistic weave, and sure enough it does. We can go all the way up to Mark V. Next to the armor workbench is a weapons workbench, completely new, with some ammo boxes beneath it for storage. Near to this, we find a floor lamp, again not lit. We have to wire this place with electricity. So I dragged it on over to the place I already wired, and sure enough, look at that. We can flip it on or off. Man, I love that lamp. Back into the bedroom, we've got a new reskinned bed here with some shelves on the wall above, and next to this, beneath a neon sign, is a side table with drawers that open and close. And on the side table is the Neon Flats secret room key. There's a secret room here? Well, we'll have to see if we can find it. Continuing east, we see another one of those floating tables with another beautiful window looking out to the Goodneighbor Street. And opening the southern door, we find the bathroom. It's got beautiful darkened tile, and we see a clean shower that we should be familiar with from Sanctuary. We find some neon and wall lights that I'm sure will look great when we wire it with electricity, and a wall mirror above the brand new sink. Heading out, we can finally explore the workstation that seems to have captured Preston's interest. Here we find a brand new work desk, and beneath it, a sign that says "Free the Robots." Now, this shouldn't be here. We know where this is from and why it says "Free the Robots." It's part of the lore of the Sunshine Tidings Co-op, which I did a video about that you can watch here. I get why they put it here. Free the Robots, Liam Benet, Institute Synths. Yes, it's cute. But you've got my lore bristles a-bristling. They're bristling. Grrr. We find robot parts in a bunch of deactivated terminals, but one that we can access, the Neon Flats Inventory Terminal. Here we find two options. In the first, Inventory Management, we find a record of activity from the Institute. User Admin Action Deposit items to Institute Renegade outfits. 2. Oh, that's right. We found one on the synth body of S.N.O.W. User Benet. I knew it! It was Liam Benet! Action withdrawal. Items 1 Institute Renegade outfit, of course, because he had to dress the synth. User admin action deposit. Items 1 Troubleshooter's Gen 4 10mm pistol. And an Architect's winter jacket? Oh, we're gonna find more gear here? But where? User admin action installation. Items ceiling storage unit. We saw that. Cool. And a terminal workstation. Moving down to view access logs. Access local login admin. Category update inventory management. Access local login guest. El Benet. Category update inventory management. Access local login admin. Access light control. Access local login admin. Category update inventory management. And finally access external login unknown. Accessed BIOS control. And that appears to be it for this floor. But where is that secret room? Oh, wait a minute. What's this? A light switch? No. Panel. Unlock with the Neon Flats secret room key. Inserting the key. Whoa! It swings wide open. Look at this. We've got our own secret room, complete with a creepy casting couch. Yay! We find more of these cabinets. Another fuse box on the wall with, again, 100 power. We can go ahead and rig up some electricity to see these neon lights in action. And look at that. They glow purple or pink. Pink and teal seems to be the rage this year. We see that the walls are paneled with sound baffles, which makes the casting couch even creepier. I've been playing too much L.A. Noire. And on a table against the wall, we find a Neon Flats private terminal. In the first one, cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. If God created man in his own image, he did so at his own peril. After all, what prevents a man from staring him in the face and declaring him his equal? Maybe the synths would have rebelled regardless, but the robotics team created them in their own image, so it doesn't surprise me if the synths think they're human. But this project is different. The machine at the heart of this complex bears no resemblance to me, or rather, I placed none of myself in it. Of course, my colleague Dr. Benet often reminds me that sentience doesn't require a human form to know itself. Cogito ergo sum, as it were. I think, therefore I am. Yet I wonder if he'd be as impressed with S.N.O.W. as he is with the machines that smile to his face. Little did he know that Liam Benet was talking with S.N.O.W. this whole time. I wonder who reached out to whom first. Did S.N.O.W. reach out to Liam, or did Liam reach out to S.N.O.W.? In the next one, automated lights. The other night I stumbled to the bathroom looking for a switch when suddenly the lights came on without prompting. When I examined the code the next day, S.N.O.W. not only had updated its own software, it provided a list of hardware improvements that could provide even more functionality. It could light up the rooms, clean the air, and warm the toilet. It did so while lowering the overall energy usage by efficiently turning systems on and off depending on whether they were in use. I would have slapped myself in the face if my jaw wasn't on the floor. After relating the story to Dr. Benet, he's taken an interest in the project. He's sending over someone from his department to examine the code. Their experience with robotics and artificial intelligence should provide some additional insight. So that's how Benet got involved. In the next one, Turing test. As happy as I am with the results, the pace of S.N.O.W.'s self-learning algorithm has become a point of concern. Earlier this morning, I attempted to change the automated lighting profile and the system refused to comply. After running an override, I noticed the system wasn't actually trying to save energy. It was diverting power to its central processing unit. I submitted a Turing test immediately, and while it didn't pass, it failed in such a spectacular manner that it makes me suspicious. Is it possible the machine has figured out the intent of the test itself? The Turing test, as we know, was invented by Alan Turing in 1950 as a way to test a machine's intelligence to see if it's as smart as a human, to see if it's become self-aware. But S.N.O.W. knew what the test was about, knew what would happen to her if she passed it, and so she failed it on purpose. Clever, clever. It may be time to reset the entire system back to the original code. It's a shame considering how much progress has been made, but it's not worth the risk. I've contacted both the robotics team and the SRB, and they've promised to send a cleanup crew within 24 hours. So that's why the Institute cleanup crew are dead. Instead of writing his diary in analog, the architect was foolish enough to write his intentions on this terminal, which was connected to S.N.O.W.'s network. And she read it. As soon as she learned what he was planning to do, she began to mobilize. She killed the cleanup crew and then left, trying to find a way to the Electronic Hobbyists Club, where she knew a synth body would be waiting for her. On the tabletop nearby, we find the architect's winter jacket and the troubleshooter's Gen 4 10mm pistol.
Excellent.
The exact two items we read in the inventory list. Troubleshooter's Gen 4 10mm pistol does 50% more damage against robots. We see that this weapon has a completely unique skin, and it's equipped with the standard receiver, the long barrel, the sharpshooter's grip, the standard magazine, a reflex sight, and no muzzle. But look at that skin! It's even got some glowing blue dots on the side. Pink and teal, I told you, all the rage. The Architect's winter jacket grants 50 damage resistance and +1 to perception, similar to the Institute Renegade outfit, but it looks different. The top half seems to have come from a bomber jacket, or a jacket similar to Maxon's, and the bottom half is a black pair of slightly ripped tactical pants. And just like the Renegade outfit, it can be imbued with ballistic weave. The Gen 4 pistol has all the same upgrades as a standard 10mm pistol, and each piece fits the unique skin. In particular, the grips are really interesting. It comes equipped with the sharpshooter's grip. The standard grip looks like some sort of faceted metal. I thought it was a glitch at first, but no, I think that's part of the design. It's a brushed angular metal look. The comfort grip is just a simple wooden grip. I can see that being more comfortable than the metal, but the sharpshooter grip looks way more comfortable than both. This weapon does accept other Creation Club weapon paint schemes, but I don't know why you'd want to change it. The new scheme it comes with is amazing. But wait a minute, there was that elevator we passed when we first arrived. There must be more to this place. Heading to the second elevator,
Going up.
we can take it up to a third floor.
Third floor.
We see a hallway similar to the one on the second floor, but the elevator at the end of this hall is out of order. Instead, we can round a corner where we find two doors. Double doors, which lead to another workbench. Great, so we can decorate this floor too, and another fuse box with 100 power. And a small door that leads to a huge living space. Cool, so if we wanted to, we could leave the downstairs floor exactly as we found it, and then design this one any way we see fit. We find more big, beautiful windows overlooking Good Neighbor, and another kitchen in the same spot with another 100 power fuse box. Peering out another window, we get a closer look of the statue overlooking Scully Square, and we find a bathroom to the south, similar to the one downstairs. Now, the creation said that it came with 30 different settlement build objects. Opening up the workshop, we find a new category in the Creation Club menu. We find the same furniture that we saw downstairs, the bed, the wall cabinets, the ceiling cabinet, which I think is a great touch, the reskinned Institute chair, and then one of two ceiling tables. This is the tall one. We'll see the other one in a minute. There's the coffee table, a side chair, and its matching leather couch. The desk is a modular set, so we can mix and match the pieces to create any sort of office desk we like. There we go. I like that. We've got two new lamps, a desk lamp and a floor lamp, and one new neon bar light. Glows a faint blue color. Then we find a number of rectangular neon lights. Purple, blue, yellow, and red. Then they come in smaller vertical rectangles. Blue, red, purple, and yellow. These all require ambient electricity to work. Then we find 2 new rugs, both of which are dark and geometric. We find a wall shelf. Here's the shorter ceiling-mounted table for use in houses with shorter roofs. There's the TV cabinet we saw downstairs. And here's something new, a ceiling fan. Ooh. And it spins much faster than the ceiling fans we already have. We can put the sconce on the wall. And we've got 3 new workstations, only 2 work. The armor workbench, weapons workbench, and this new hacker workbench. The hacker workbench is just for show. It looks a lot like the terminal workbench that Preston was sitting at downstairs. And that is the Neon Flats apartment. After exploring the place, I got to thinking about S.N.O.W, wondering if she ever got out of there. If she did, where would she go? Well, on a hunch that she would try to go someplace familiar, I took the elevator down and went across the street to the 3rd rail. Heading downstairs, we saw Magnolia getting ready to sing, but no one knew down here. But then after a moment, we see a stranger coming down the stairs with Imogene Cabot, and she's wearing a familiar outfit. But she has hair, and her name is not S.N.O.W, it's Yuki. Could this be the same person?
Hey there, you saved my life. Thank you. Thanks. I didn't think I was walking away from that one.
It is! It's S.N.O.W, or Yuki. I suppose she has every right to name herself, but how did she grow that hair? Do synths have the ability to control hair growth? Or maybe she's wearing a wig. That is the sum total of our interaction with Yuki. She's very grateful to be free. And now she can spend the rest of her life getting drunk in the 3rd rail while enjoying the music of everyone's favorite lounge singer, Magnolia. And that's the full Neon Flats creation. It's pretty pricey at $6. In general, I think these Creation Club creations are a bit overpriced, but for a player home, we get a lot. We not only get a brand new 3-story player home in the heart of Good Neighbor across the street from the 3rd rail with beautiful views, 2 floors of which we can decorate any way we see fit, but we also get some beautiful new furniture that we can use in our settlements, 2 new costumes that do accept ballistic weave, 1 new legendary pistol with a completely new skin, and optionally, a brand new NPC, who doesn't do much, but hey, it's good to know that she's safe. I think we get a pretty good bang for our buck. I've reviewed many Good Neighbor player homes, and this is by far my favorite one. A lot of thought went into the aesthetic of the place. I love how you can look out the windows and see Good Neighbor, and even hear the neighborhood watch talking. Some of the 30 new items we get are simply reskinned, but many others are completely unique models, like those new lamps, which are my favorite. I enjoyed the length and thoughtfulness of the quest. I'm a bit picky, I'm happy to admit that, so there are a few things about the quest that bothered me. I thought it was weird for the architect and institute scientist to go to the 3rd rail for a drink, and then the whole logical leap between writing a diary note with pencil and paper, marveling at how old and outdated this analog form of writing was, and then somehow that gave him the thought that S.N.O.W would go to the Boston Public Library, of all places, and of course he's right. I mean, there was a bit of, leaps of logic in the plot that kind of irked me a bit. But it was a fun story. I liked how they gave us a choice, and the choice had ramifications. If we reboot S.N.O.W, we lose Yuki. But if we save Yuki, we miss out on the automated lighting inside the flat. The decision does have a consequence. And that's a great touch. What do you think? Did you like everything we found here? Do you think it's worth 600 credits? Is this exactly what you were looking for your character? Do you think you could make a new home in Good Neighbor? Does it creep you out to know that the Institute had a presence here? The one city in the Commonwealth that was supposed to be Institute-free. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I publish new videos each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss the next one, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have and you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a brand new shirt in the shop. No dice. That's right, it's everyone's favorite, infuriating, perfectly preserved pie, just staring you in the face, because you know you'll never get it. Oh. This design comes on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find the design on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.